Welcome back, it's me, Lou. Today we are jumping back into the time machine as we look at a much older action figure. And I use the term loosely because this is essentially more of a statue than an action figure. What we have here is a Star Wars Unleashed Padmé Amidala. So I picked this up a few weeks back from one of my favorite collectible toy stores in the Chicagoland area. And that's Wax Packs, Records, and Toys, located in beautiful Roselle, Illinois. If you're in the neighborhood, check it out. It's great. Aaron's one of my best friends. I've been shopping there forever. This is a very unique piece. I just noticed now that the top of my bubble's dented in. So I don't want to risk undenting it because I might crack the plastic because the plastic feels a little bit fragile. So if you grew up during this time period, you'll remember these very unique Hasbro Star Wars figures. They're more so statues than anything else. I want to say she might stand probably anywhere between 6.5 to 7.5 inches, maybe. There's no articulation. All this figure was a display base and then the figure. It's more so like a figurine. Think of it like that. This kind of came out during that time period where collectors were really concerned about detail and sculpting than articulation. I think it's mostly because a lot of us during the 80s, we were little kids in the 80s and we grew up with these toys. And then as we got older, I think our mode of thinking kind of changed a little, where not that it was embarrassing to collect toys, but now that we were older, we didn't really play with them. And, for us, a lot of us, it was just more so about just having nice display pieces. A lot of us in the 80s and 90s, a lot of people, we're finally getting cool jobs, working maybe in the video game industry, and you want to deck out your office space with some cool swag and whatnot. And you know what? There's nothing better than, flying your nerd flag than having some cool action figures. And these were just fun display pieces. For the Unleashed line, they were kind of exaggerated, almost not necessarily caricatures of the actors, but they kind of looked like what they're supposed to look like, but a little bit different. This is kind of like an exaggerated version of Natalie Portman. She still has the beauty mark, but then if you look closely, there's some embellishments. She's a little bit more well endowed in the chest area than Natalie Portman is in the real life, and the sculptor even sculpted her nipples, which is kind of wild. And I'm not sure if this was a manufacturing defect or if this is a case of over time, but her abdomen, it's lost the flesh color or flesh tone of this, it's kind of looking yellowed out. So I don't know if at the manufacturing plant, if they forgot to paint her belly in, or if over time, the paint was sun exposed and it faded away. But it's cool. It's a fun likeness of Natalie Portman as Padme. It's a little bit more exaggerated, but she's in a cool pose. She's holding a Confederate droid blaster. So this kind of somewhat takes the character from the scene during the Battle of Geonosis in the arena. On the back of the box, nice meaty bio on the character. And here's the actual figurine fully assembled on the display base. So it was all about creating dynamic poses and just having a really wonderful, desk piece or something to put in your den or on your bookshelf. You got a nice display, a very dynamic chain that's just kind of swirling around her. It's very comic book like. And then there's Anakin, and then there's Darth Vader. This came out in 2002, so it's about 20 years old. And it came with a trading card. This is part of a collectible card game, I think, that they were putting out at the time. So yeah, very fun, very unique piece. If you're into Star Wars, but you're not about collecting toys and action figures, but you want some cool things to put on display, maybe in your library or at your desk at work, I think it's worth hunting down some of these Unleashed figures. They look really cool. But just keep in mind, these are more so display pieces. These aren't something you're going to necessarily play with because, for a lot of these figures, there's zero articulation. So Alright, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber viewer, thank you so much for continued likes, comments, and support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.